Welcome to the Sacred Feminine Connection podcast, founded by me, Anne Reynolds, with a twofold mission, which is to reweave the red thread of sisterhood among women around the world and restore the sacred connection between the feminine and masculine that thrived in ancient times but was lost and forgotten. At this time, this podcast airs every second Monday of the month. Today's episode is entitled Light in the Divine Feminine. Our guest speaker today is Dr. Susan Jamieson, known as the Light Doctor. This is because, as well as being an integrative medical doctor, she's a super specialist in well being through consciousness, energy, and specifically light. Today, we're going to focus on the light emitted by our actual DNA in every cell of our body and how this transcends time and space, especially with reference to the divine feminine and also the light of our hearts in the form of compassion. Welcome, Susan. It is such a pleasure to have you here with us today. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me, Anne. This is wonderful. Absolutely lovely to see you again.
It's so lovely to see you too. Thank you so much. And so let's first things first, let's go right ahead into the question. So, could you tell me, how did the sacred feminine call out to you for the first time in your life?
Well, in a way that you maybe wouldn't expect, because I'm a medical doctor. However, very quickly, I got into the path of women's health and actually supporting women. So I set up the first Well Women Clinic in Hong Kong. I mean, people did pap smears and all that, but they didn't exist in that form. And I made this a forum for women to not, it's supposed to be a forum for women not just to get a checkup, but to share anxieties, stresses, postnatal stuff, even marital stuff, right? It is a little clinic specifically for women and supporting women. So I moved on from that to pioneering some menopausal therapies for women. 25 years ago, no one was really talking about it much. And, um, and then natural solutions for that. So my career medically began with all this women's health. And then it developed into working with, as you know, that well-being through energy and consciousness and light. However, I've always supported women, and most of my patients are women. So, one way or another, through their anxieties, through the stresses, through their hormones, it's all women. So that's how it started. The title. Why do I mention the light of our DNA? Well, that's because not a lot of people realize this, but our DNA themselves, the core of our being, our genetic heritage, it's not just to do with having brown or blue eyes and passing, short height along the generations. There's more qualities than that, much more, because only in the last 10 years have they been proven to release photons, and this is packed full of information. So, hundreds of photons every second released. Imagine all this information. This is the information on a QR code. This is like packed full of information about us. So, that is also what's passed down through the generations. And I'd like to think also the female lineage, which, because of the way the X chromosome works, and the whole genetic thing, um, and also the fact that if you think about it, genetics actually is quite complicated. But if you think about it in a simple form, um, you know, you've got eggs in you. I think, no, what I mean to say is your daughter has eggs, right? Your daughter, who is, I know, a teenager, I think, she has eggs that are full of your DNA. And and this is, and the light of the DNA is the informational bit. So yes, information and the things we know about, like, the blonde hair, the dark hair, in your case, but also more than that. And with the divine feminine, I guess we're not just thinking, we're thinking way back, aren't we, for thousands of years. I mean, the lineage of Mother Mary, Mary Magdalene, but even before that, that was 2000 years ago before that. So all their information is passed down. Doesn't that sound incredibly profound on a biological level?
Yeah, I'm actually like, uh, With everything you're saying, I'm actually trying to make the pathways, and there are several things that are occurring to me to ask you. But first of all, because you are a medical doctor, I wanted to ask your specialty.
Now, I'm an integrative specialist, so three levels of integration. The basic is the body, we've got exercise, we've got diet, sleep, very, very important. And then we've got mind body, so we've got stress, anxiety, depression, hugely impactful, so impacts 75% of our physical illness, the emotion. But I suppose what I'm most interested in is mind, body, spirit. And by spirit, I'm going to say light. So consciousness, spirit. I'm very excited to be part of forums such as Beyond the Brain, these amazing consciousness conferences also. And I have a threefold model. I've only invented this last week, by the way, because I'm very creative. I've wondered for a long time, sorry to digress here, but how to like this huge area. It's a bit like saying I specialize in God. It's huge. Well, how to connect all this? So three things. I guess I could share a little diagram now, but we can all imagine three things in our mind. The light within our bodies. I just mentioned the DNA. But what I didn't mention is working the neurons in the brain and the enzymes in the body. Then the light between people, that right now there's all sorts of phenomena going on between us because we're connected through our intention and attention. And in the same way, that's why, you're thinking about your mother or your friend and you're about to pick up your phone to dial them and they phone you, right? This is a connection between people. We're all familiar with that. Then the second layer would be our connection to the natural world. The light, real electromagnetic energy, as I'm a scientist, of nature, the light of trees, rocks, the sun. Third layer, what about those who have passed? Those who have passed before us, our forebears, they have light. You can't destroy energy. We know that through science. So it flows from one form into another, like electricity in a wire, then comes out in a loudspeaker. Totally different form of energy, isn't it? It couldn't be more different. I mean, electricity gives us an electrical shock, dangerous, could be dangerous, nasty. Sound is totally different thing, yet it's energy and it flows. So that's why we die. I believe that energy is not destroyed. So that's the third level. So back to the divine feminine. As I say, for women, it's different to men. It's just different, isn't it? Because men obviously produce millions of sperm. I mean, let's hope more than, what is it, more than 2 million they're supposed to have. I'm trying to remember back to my days of doing male fertility. Um, and it's just all genetic stuff going out there. Women, from the moment they're born, have eggs in their ovaries. Very specifically, that's come through the female, come from the mother, obviously, but then from the grandmother, right? See what I mean? I always find that a bit complicated to think about. So it's women have the light of the women seems to be very significant, the genetic lineage of women. Is this making sense?
It's actually really beautiful. And one thing that I've been thinking about as you were sharing all this wonderful information is how the light, how you focus on the light and you focus on energy. And I wanted to ask, where was the inspiration that came
Hmm.
up for the focus on light? Because when I
Mm,
introduced you, you also mentioned about light in the DNA, and then you were saying it on all the different levels. So I would
mm,
love to for you to
mm.
speak more about that.
It's a good question. I've actually remembered exactly where it came from. So, as a child, I am neurodivergent. I'm on the autistic spectrum, but I manage very nicely with that. However, I really connect to animals and like a lot of the, autistic spectrum people and nature. So I spent a long time, I'm an only child on my own, Nature was my friends. And in my memoir I'm writing at the moment, my book, I'm talking about nature's spirits, which are really just the energy of nature, right? So I spent a lot of time connecting to their light because that's the energy of nature. So, okay, back to basics. Fritz Popp, 1980s, um, German biophysicist with numerous degrees in physics, proved that plants, as they grow, release lots of electromagnetic energy. Actually, all matter releases it, but lively things like us, trees, plants, do release a little bit more. And as they grow, just like us, they're releasing all this light. Now, electromagnetic energy, let's be really simple, like electricity, like color frequencies, it's light, it's part of the light frequency, so it's light. It's our physical definition of light. So thriving plants, thriving trees, releasing all this energy, just like us, they've got lots to spare, haven't they? And they're being creative with their own beautiful foliage and their own beautiful flowers. And then, just like us, when they get older, they release less and less. They get tired, I guess. They've got less to release. And what's really super sweet from his work is just before they die, they release a big burst, a burst of energy. I mean, and I love to think of that. I'm thinking, what is it? Those things that, like sunflower, those flowers that just like burst, a burst of seeds, a burst of energy. But the fact is, it's a burst of electromagnetic energy. So it's like a little plant soul, and that they release just before they pass. So this is real energy, is what I'm saying. So I think I was connected to light. Well, my earliest memories of connecting it, lying in my pram on my back, less than 1 year old, in the garden in the suburbs of Glasgow, gazing up at the sun filtering through the leaves of the tree, being totally connected, totally merging with that energy. And I think you're feeling it now, that pristine, pure, perfect energy of light. All that was forgotten about in the years of childhood, adolescent, going through medical school certainly knocks that out of you. You know, absorbing all these facts and figures, all the studying, all the responsibility and hard work. However, I started to write, and I'm going to say this, write randomly about 2010. In that I wrote chapters of things I knew about. I knew a lot about Chinese medicine. I've lived in the Far East for 30 years. Chinese philosophy, the Tao, merging with how you can never know the nature of the Tao. That's because how could you know the nature of God, right? But Taoism, ancient Chinese culture, is very much about merging with nature and being one with nature. Ayurvedic medicine. So there's a chapter on that. And think of the chakras in the body. The ancient Hindu system certainly predates modern medicine, thousands of years old. And these are colors. So colors is a fraction of light. And I thought, so I was writing all these chapters and I thought, well, colors are part of the light spectrum. Okay. And then Chinese medicine, the meridians in the body, along the lines along which we insert acupuncture needles. To me, they're lines of light. They're like electricity in the body. And in fact, they're unidirectional. So they're like electricity. They go one way, like direct current. Like the lung meridian goes from your shoulder down here to your thumb. Okay, so that is the direction of it. That's the direction it's supposed to flow. And and then I wrote about how when we see things in our eyes, as we all do, unless we're unlucky enough to be blind, and they've got a whole load of mechanisms going on as well, which I won't go into. Um, Light, we're masters at transforming and transducing light. So I'm very good at dot connecting. I see connections, like a lot of neurodiverse people. So think about, you look at something, electromagnetic energy, light energy goes in your eye. The back of our eye, that gets converted to chemical energy in the retina. So in the retina, it's chemical energy. Then in the optic nerve, the actual nerve of the eye, it's electrical energy. And then it's converted again in the brain, where it goes to all sorts of centers in the brain. So Already we're transforming energy, aren't we? Light energy all the time into different forms. Just like plants would convert light energy from the sun into nutrition in their leaves and by the form of photosynthesis, so light energy to chemical through photosynthesis. We do that too. We're masters at it. So I'm writing. So back to the how did I connect with the light? I just wrote so many chapters. I was so interested in all these connections. Then I had a trip to Egypt. I've always wanted to go. And I was in Abu Simbel in the Upper Nile. So Abu Simbel, border of, um, it's the border of Sudan. It's, you travel from Luxor to Abu Simbel. So it's up there. It's not near Cairo. It's about 10 hours on a train from Cairo. And that's where the Aswan Dam was built. So a lot of the world leaders and countries in the world spent a fortune, including America, in relocating ancient Egyptian temples because of this dam, which was essential for irrigation. And that's indeed why they have one in the Metropolitan Museum in New York. And what's it called again? I've been there. Is it Dendra? I think that's the Temple of Dendra, which is one of the most famous, sacred, feminine temples. So that's interesting. I advise anyone who's really interested and in the East Coast to go and visit it. It's very beautiful in the Metropolitan Museum. So I'm out there in the desert, Temple of Ramses II, which is major. It's the major temple in Abu Simbel. And well, you know how these countries are the glaring sun is 42 degrees. That's about, I don't know, almost 100 Fahrenheit, probably mid 90s, is it? And it's dazzling. And even though I've got sunglasses on, I'm looking at this dazzling, the light on the dazzling sand. It just transfixed me, and I thought it was extraordinary. And it struck me that everything is made of light. Everything. So I see the world in terms of light and forms of light, everything. And our connections in the light. As I've just described, we've got the natural world, ourselves, in our bodies, between ourselves being the most important, and then those who have passed, all our connections. So I got that insight and I thought, that's it. My book's about light. So it's called, and you can buy it on Amazon, what's it called? Light and Life, Medical to Mystical. I write medical because it's onomatopoeic. I love things like, medical, mystical, but it's not really medical. So the book is not absolutely nothing about medicine. It's about well-being. And there are lots of self-help exercises in using the light. And I'm happy to give you a demonstration of that if you'd like.
Sure. Yes, go for it.
So I didn't do the research on this. Dr. Michael Persinger, who's now passed at the Laurentian University um, in North America, he's a Canadian. He did all this. They have a photomultiplier machine to measure photons of light. So it's real science. And he discovered that when we think about light, when we focus on it, our body, this is really crazy, but our body actually produces twice as much energy, twice as much photonic energy. So what I'm thinking is, this is Susan's word here now, not his. He did this amazing science. It's like attracts like. Do you know what I mean? Always in life. Our friends will be, all my patients, I can't believe this. They all love dogs and horses, they're just attracted to me. And we never discuss that stuff, but then they maybe see a photo on my desk and turns out that's, like attracts like. So I'm thinking we're beings of light. I can explain that one later, but on a biochemical basis, biology basis, quantum physical basis, we are made of light, 100%. So, well, why shouldn't we then attract more light when we visualize it? Because what we think is real. So, as a doctor, I can tell you now when people are stressed, they're scared, which they often are at a doctor's office, their blood pressure and their pulse will go up. So, what the mind thinks, the body believes, the body is responding. Life's very simple. We don't need to make it complicated. What we believe and think is real to our bodies. So, right now, it's a really simple little exercise. I'd love it. Those of you who aren't driving, uh, shut your eyes. Those of you who are driving, keep focusing. Ah, I really enjoyed that breath. So when you breathe out, can you imagine that your breath is going down through your legs and your feet into the center of the earth, rooting you like a tree, and you might even visualize that you've got roots actually going down here into the earth if you want. Let that breath go. Root yourself like a tree. We all know what trees look like, so this visualization is really easy. Just on the out breath, we're sending our human energy down. We're connecting the electromagnetic energy of our body, the mini magnets in our body, connecting them down into the earth that is our mother, the earth that sustains us on all levels: food, water, oxygen. And now imagine the foliage at the top of this tree, your favorite type of tree. I like birches and beeches, but maybe it's an oak tree or a pine tree or a bilbow tree. Imagine your favorite tree. And these leaves, these green leaves, are collecting the energy of the sun. They're connecting it. I mean, they're collecting it and connecting with it. So it's a beautiful sunny day in your imaginary tree. Now we're just focusing on one thing, which is the leaves of this tree, and the fact that the sun is beating down. The sun is coming down, it's filtering down through the tree. You can be the tree or you can be sitting under the tree. Either way, tree is basking and bathing. It's so happy in this energy of light. The light that comes down, we're now thinking about the white light that's coming down from the sun. The white light that's coming down from the sun, filtering through the tree or directly as a sunbeam. Pristine, perfect, pure. It's healing everything in your body, everything it touches, and it's touching everything because, of course, it comes down our head, into our head first, flows down our arms, little fingers relaxing, our neck, our chest, upper back, whole of the abdominal organs and lower back. That light is cleaning, cleansing, and clearing any disharmonies, any dysfunctions or disease in your body, just being dissolved in the light. And the light is pouring in your head. It continues to come down. Pure perfection, pristine, present. Now into your pelvis, all the organs in your pelvis and your hips, your thighs, those big muscles, knees, lower legs, and the feet that do work all day long. So this light is just pouring down any dysfunction, disease, disharmony, discharged through your feet into the earth. So you're being washed and cleansed. Everything's being washed away that is not of your highest good. This is your divine light, and it's also the light of God. It's your genetic heritage. It's who you are. It's the light of perfection, of purity. It's so lovely being in this light, in our tree or under our tree. It's so relaxing. We focus again on letting our breath go down into the earth, the roots of the tree. As we breathe out and wriggling our toes in the earth beneath us. Take a deep breath and we open our eyes, coming back to the room, feeling refreshed, re-energized and revitalized as we open our eyes. How did you feel with that, Anne?
Completely relaxed, and I could actually feel the wind. I was connecting with the earth, and I was feeling the wind around me, and I was also feeling the light coming in. It was just absolutely beautiful. And I was just thinking, Susan is a very special integrated medical doctor.
Oh, so sweet of you. But I don't really practice as a doctor. I help people connect. I've got various expressions. Be your own light. People don't really understand what that means. So be your most extraordinary self, because we are beings of the divine. We are made in the image of the divine. So to say anything less is heresy.
That's so beautiful for you to say that. And one of the, I mean, you've said a lot of things, and one of the things that really struck me when I asked you about the light, and your earliest memory was when you weren't even a year old and you were lying down. And the memory of that really struck me. That's really, really special to have. Um, that's something that my daughter also remembers. And you actually mentioned my daughter. So my daughter is turning 30 on New Year's Day.
Not a teenager, got that wrong.
Not a teenager, but she looks like one. So that's okay. That's all good.
Probably acts like one. Okay. I still act like one.
It's all good. It's all good. And yeah, and she has memories as well of, like being less than a year old. So I would say that's really like a special quality in you. And I mean, just all the different qualities of light that you mentioned and how it's really a connection. Because you were mentioning the connection, like with the meridians of the body, and then you were mentioning the connection with the chakras. But then it goes further than that. It goes into ancestry of the people past, but not only that, it's also in nature, and that's like our whole environment. And it's just, I could just feel the explosion. It's just so beautiful. And just mentioning that, and then you went into the light of God. So this is a really, really beautiful place to be. I'm so warm and fuzzy, and I'm just here, and I am, and I love it.
Oh, well,
It's
isn't this a
beautiful.
nice, relaxed conversation? I think that's what we have to discuss, and your energy has brought this out in me. Um, yeah, it's a big work that I have. But you know what someone said to me? I said, "Oh, how can I do this? How can I do this work? Because no one understands it because it's too big a picture." They said, "No. Look at Neil Donald Walsh. He had a big topic. It was God, right? And he managed, right? So I thought, oh yeah, okay. And then Louise Hay, that was a big picture. All these people, they had big pictures, and there's nothing wrong with it. You just have to try. Have a website. It's my name, strangely enough. And I am offering, I have to say this at this point, I like to support women, and I thought of my various products, as in three of them, what would be most helpful. I have an online course on how to be more intuitive, and these are all very light-based and energy-based, by the way. Um, but I think to help people nowadays, natural solutions for anxiety. It's a very inexpensive course. It's 300 US, what's 299, and I would give 50% off to anyone from this podcast. And also, second thing is I do very good personal work. It's quantum personal transformation. So extremely transformative because I will look at every level of your being. Maybe you've got stuck issues, let's say, whether they're physical or whether they're emotional or even spiritual. There'll be, you can't, you know there's a problem. We all know when there's a problem. We all know that we're not getting help with it, right? So I will help you with the different levels of that, and I'm really capable of that. Sometimes I say to people, no, you need to go back and see a doctor. This is really important to do that. And that might be the way, but that's not common. Usually there's other solutions that haven't been looked at yet. That's what I mean by integrative health. I don't really integrate at the level of diet and all that so much. It's really different levels of what would we call it, psycho-spiritual.
Susan's website is drsusanjameson.com.
And it's
Is that
spelled
did I get it right?
Ieson, so it's not like the whiskey Jameson. That would have been so much easier. It's spelled Susan, Jamieson.com, Dr. DR. And yeah, but you should get my name and website pretty quick in Google if you put in doctor and my name. So I've just combined my two large brands into one. We've got holistic medicine over here, enormous website. Then we had energy, spiritual over here, enormous website. I thought I can't, too much splitting. We're all too split, aren't we? Had to get it together. This is all about wholeness. It's about oneness. The light is a message of oneness. We're all connected in the light. So I felt it was inappropriate to be split like that.
And so how can the listeners book a session with you if they were interested in that? Or
Well,
also,
it's all, you can book a session on my website.
okay,
However, to get the discount better, I just, I don't know how to do the code thing. So I think it's just easier to email me and you'll get the contact on my website. Just
perfect.
tell me. Yes.
So that's also in the notes for everyone who's listening. And so
Um, yeah, the website's in the notes and the contact. I'll also give you my email address. So it'll be easy for you. And this
perfect.
this open this offer is open. Yeah, that's fine. I was going to
That's
put a time
very,
limit on it, but there's no point.
very, very generous. So for everyone for all the listeners of this podcast, you have a really special offer from Dr. Susan Jameson, and that's really, really beautiful. And so if you want to dive deep and learn more about her work, please go and visit her website and avail of the special discount available for all the listeners. The next question that I have for you is what is the one feminine quality that you connect with the most and why?
Okay. Compassion. Can we say compassion is a feminine quality? It's a bit mean on men, isn't it? But I feel I'm going to say that because it's a traditional one. Um, Compassion of the heart is a huge thing with me. So, scientifically, our heart produces a huge amount of magnetic energy, many hundreds more times than the brain, by the way. Heart is an enormous electromagnetic pump, aka light. In case you haven't connected that one, but I think you guys are pretty smart, so you probably connected that. Another thing, right? Here's another thing going on here. Acolyte. So I have had some, I'm going to call them miracle healings in my office, and I know it's related to compassion of the heart and my ability, actually, not my ability as a human being to switch it on, but my ability to remove the covers and the layers that stopped it shining. So it's a huge property that is healing. And do you want me to tell you a quick story about that? So I'm in my office in what I consider the graveyard shift because I'm tired. It's a Friday, late afternoon, 5 o'clock, and I've been doing this work all week and I'm exhausted. I mean, I used to see far too many clients, right? So it's energetically, I just got so burnt out and tired of doing this for many years. And then in comes the one type of patient I didn't really like very much. We all have our preferences. Middle-aged man. I didn't used to connect to men in my office very well. I've told you I had a huge background with women. So I found men just challenging for no reason at all. And also, he was the type of man who thought that I was a kind of witch, you know? It's like, hello, I'm a Scottish and Harvard trained doctor. I'm hugely scientific, and I'm not a frigging unscientific witch. But that's what people kind of, they don't understand. They don't really understand how intuition works. And the fact is that I am a medical intuitive, right? Because of my light work and my practice. So I knew he was there as seeing me as a last resort. So I had my judgments. What I'm going to say is I'm exhausted. I have judgments. I do this new age stuff. I'm going to say that because it's a bit babyish about protecting myself. I think, oh, I must protect myself. You have these bubbles around you. You do this, you do that. Um, and when he walks in, I put a brave smile on my face because he's here because I'm a last resort. He said, I've seen every other doctor. I've got this headache that's just been there for over 2 years now. I can't even sleep. I've had to give up my job. He was CEO of an engineering company, major position. He was an engineer. And I've seen neurologists, I've had scans, I've had all these things, and even seen a psychologist, but it doesn't get any better. And I'm like, oh, that's okay. Thanks for landing that on me. That's easy on a Friday afternoon. You've seen every specialist there is, every best specialist. That's great. And I'll come up with something out of my big hat of tricks here, no doubt. Not. So I'm thinking this to myself. And you hear the defensive baggage here, right? This is not someone who is being open to really open-heartedly helping a patient, is she? Not really. She's tired and she's a bit fed up and feeling judged and trying to protect herself, all that. So I said the obvious question. I said, when did it start? Oh, just over 2 years ago. Tell me the events around this. What happened the day before, the week before? And he's been asked this before by his therapists. So he just came out with it. He said, oh, it happened the day after my daughter was killed in a car crash. And the moment he said that, I dropped all my defensiveness, baggage, all that stuff I've just mentioned, and my heart opened in compassion. And I walked over to him, and luckily, we live in a world that doctors still touch people because I think sometimes touch is important, but not always necessary. And I said, okay, I'm going to just touch. It was in his forehead, the pain. I'm just going to touch your forehead. And I put my hand on his forehead for no particular reason because I wasn't actually examining anything. I just wanted to touch. And as I said, my heart had opened in complete compassion, and I have a lot of, I know I can do this. And it was unhindered, unburdened in what it did. And then after, 10 seconds of doing that is long enough. Otherwise, it gets a bit weird. I took my hand away and I said, oh, that's strange. My headache's gone. My headache's gone. It's the first time in 2 years. And well, that story really finished because there's nothing much for me to say at that point except, well, I hope it doesn't come back. Please come back and see me if it does, right? But basically, I call that a miracle healing very clearly. It's not about me. I have an explanation for this that I know, you know how you have an internal knowing is correct. This is what I present at conferences, but I think to be honest, 10 years ago, this was a bit too advanced for people to even think about. We know we emit photons of light, right? We know also electromagnetic energy, as discussed, like the plant, but maybe we do more of it. And then, so imagine two pebbles dropped in a pond, right? There's ripples coming out of each, aren't there? And there's an overlapping pattern where they meet. These two pebbles, the ripples meet. They overlap, a crisscrossing pattern. Well, in wave physics, that's an interference pattern of the waves. And also it's actually a standing wave becomes a hologram. So suddenly we have three entities in the room, not two. Me, him, the hologram. And everything I do in that arena, or he does, will change the hologram. And we're both part of that entity. So every thought I have, positive, negative, hopeful, will impact him. And we know that actually. That's like fancy language for saying when you meet a depressed or angry friend, you come away feeling a bit depressed or angry. We know this. I'm just proposing the physical model. However, more sophisticated is that remember what Jesus said, when two of you are present in my name, I will also be present, right? Yeah. So here we are, here we have it. So I don't believe I do any healing at all, or I don't believe it's my compassion that does the healing. Love to think that, but it's not. Um, Basically, I'm a catalyst. So this becomes a trigger for change and an invitation for a healing. Did you see the difference? I hope that explained it properly there. I'm sure I have a gnosis that that was the methodology and that's what really happened. Um, I never saw him again, so
Beautiful
let's hope.
story. Yes, that's a beautiful story, and that explains everything. It's beautiful and complete and magical.
Well, we are magical beings, and that's why my memoir is going to be called Be Your Most Extraordinary.
So that's coming up. So Susan has a book that's out on Amazon. So it's also in the notes, and then she has a memoir coming out, which will also be well, the wherever the link is, I know it's connected to her website, so we'll have that as the notes. She is also going to be a speaker at it's coming up
Beyond the
Beyond
Brain
the
this
Brain.
weekend. Yes.
So there's that. I'm going to put that in the notes as well in case you would like to go. So that's something
You know
else.
what? As the world expert in consciousness, and this is like, if I wasn't speaking, I'd be paying for this. I can tell you it's about 100 US or something. I'm speaking on Saturday. I'm doing a workshop on Saturday. Now we just had a little experience of light there. So now that I'm thinking, oh, I'll do that at the workshop, right? That's a good idea. But we'll be doing other things as well. So I do hope, yeah, some of you can join.
That is so beautiful. So, thank you so much, Susan, for being
You're
here
so
on the
welcome.
podcast today. This is just so wonderful. So, in closing, I wanted to ask you, what message do you have for the men and women right now who are listening to this interview?
Mm. I think life's really tough right now, especially in America, right? Really tough time, huge anxieties, uncertainties, anger, disappointment. Hold on to your light. That's what I advise. Find the light, be in the light, access the light. I don't have time to go into all the ways of doing that now. Books full of them, but I give you a little example, that meditation you could keep doing. You hold your own bearing, find your own light. It's all you can do, and it will help.
Beautiful. Thank you for joining us today in this sacred space. We hope that you enjoyed today's conversation. If you like today's episode, please share this podcast with someone who really needs to hear this truth and follow me for more groundbreaking interviews. Together, let's rekindle the light that shines within us, rebuild relationships based on love and trust, and heal the world.